hello and good day to everyone that is really tuning in here at the Sphere Rocket Podcast Network. Once again, I'm going to be the host for today's episode. My name is Wayne, and with me today is Joriquel, one of our hired VAs. How are you doing today, Joriquel?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking, Dwayne. How about you?
I'm doing great as well, although it is quite cold here where I'm in, but the work needs to go, and hopefully the weather there is also fine, and yeah, we're ready for work. And Jorko, I guess for my first question, what do you think is the best place that you visit?
Best place that I visit. I haven't traveled internationally, so I would say La Union.
I
For
would say what? I've been there in La Union for surfing and the beaches and stuff. What makes La Union special for you?
well, surfing as well.
Yeah,
La Union, and also the food. It's so good.
I wasn't able to get to any specific food in La Union, just fishes, obviously, because it's near the ocean. Anything particular that you enjoyed eating in La Union?
I tried kabsat, and their surf and turf is really awesome.
Oh, yeah, seafood. I didn't try the surf and turf. I don't know. I just ate some spaghetti and pizza in one of the restaurants there. I don't know why. I should have taken some seafood. It would have been fresh, but definitely next time I'm there, I'll try the seafood surf and turf and kapsa. Okay, something to try out. But where are you located now?
Currently located in Caloocan City.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so far, but it's still far. But I guess it's one of the closer places to La Union from Metro Manila. So, yeah. How many hours is that from Caloocan?
Actually, the trip started morning, and we arrived there evening.
Oh, okay. It's still far away. And as were you working when you traveled
No,
there? Oh, okay. I thought you were working. I mean, the thing is, it's possible to work while traveling to
yeah,
somewhere just as long as you have a proper internet connection in your laptop. Yeah, that's one of the benefits is becoming a
it
VA.
is
And
possibly, but
yeah,
I
so I guess you've done it before, going in
no,
vacations while
I
getting
don't
your
want
work.
because I'm answering calls, so I'm not offline.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess if you're in calls, yeah, you can't really be traveling unless you're in a hotel room, which is that is doable. Yeah, so that's something you can do. And if you don't mind me asking, since you've said that you're answering calls, what exactly is your current position as a VA?
I'm actually like a VA receptionist for a rehab facility. It's called
Hmm.
Elevate or
Hmm.
M.
I've heard of Elevate. Yeah, I hear that a lot actually. And what's the name of your client? Elevate itself?
It, the name of the client is Dana.
Well, that is interesting because most of the people that I've talked to, and it's more of the really hard side of real estate. So you're more in the mental health thingy. That is quite interesting. But before we head to that, what were you doing before you became a VA?
But back then, I was in the BPO industry. Most
Hmm.
of people here in Sphere Rocket. I've spent like almost 2 years in the BPO industry. And yeah, I've handled two types of account, one healthcare, one financial, before I venture the virtual assistant.
I guess healthcare is still close to what you're doing now. That's something you can connect. And what led you to transitioning to the VA industry, and how did you find out about it?
Actually, back when I was working in the BPO industry, I've been hearing a lot of gossips regarding the virtual assistant.
Gossips, yeah.
They're talking about, they have like much greater pay compared to what we're earning right now, and like less of workloads and less stress. And that's
Is
what's
it true?
well, in my line of work as a VA receptionist for over a year now, or I mean almost a year now. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
be 1 year in February. So it's really less stress, and the workload, it compared to the BPO industry, it's really life changing.
And more pay, I'm sure.
Of course, yeah.
More pay. The rumors are true. The
It,
myths are
it
true.
is.
Getting higher. And yes, and just the idea that you're able to work at home or anywhere. It's
Yeah.
it's an amazing idea. No more traffic. No more waking up 2-3 hours before your shift just so you have enough time to travel. Those are
And
the
more,
amazing.
when you're not gonna be traveling from work to
Hmm.
home,
Hmm.
you're gonna the money for yourself. So
Yes, exactly. No, you don't need to pay, other than public transport, eating food. You can
yeah,
easily cook at home and it's a lot more cheaper. And I guess the best is spending more time with family
yes,
or people at home.
me
It's
time.
something that you can't take that back, that time, so it makes it really priceless. And you have an interesting position as it's elevate, so it's more of like a mental health sort of thing. So what exactly do you do in your line of work?
Actually, in my job, I just answered the after hours calls. So basically, I don't really work that much because not a lot of people call that particular rehab center at night. But yeah, I just get their information and then forward it to the counselor in the morning.
It's a lot less stress and just a chill. You're lucky that's kind of like your timeline where you work with them. So, any particular stories you can share about, or is it, I don't know if it's not allowed to be shared, but any not funny, interesting stories that you were doing the help desk and that?
Actually, yes. So when I mentioned that I'm working at like a rehab facility, right? So
Yes,
the callers would be.
they're a bit special. They're a little special, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, one time when I was just a few months in that company, I
Uh,
had a call and it was very strange. You know why? Because that person is like a neighbor, and he's reporting his neighbors that they need the specific
and
help that we provide. They need rehab. Why? Because they are always drinking.
he should
So
visit the Philippines. I think he will kill everyone.
I was just a few months in. I really don't know what to say. Like,
Yeah, I mean, you can say, "Oh, that's not possible." I don't know how to react to that. We will try our best. What was your answer at that time?
mean, we're not animal control that we just
Yeah, you're not the police. You're not like
break them.
911.
What I at the end of the call, thankfully he was just ranting that the neighbors were noisy and something
Uh,
like that. Ended up empathizing with that caller, and good thing that he didn't insist on going to the place and just getting their neighbors into rehab or
uh,
convincing them to do so. But anyways, yeah, it was very strange call.
Whoa. At least, it could have been worse. It's not like I think I would take those crazy calls over people complaining in the call center,
Oh
like
yeah,
just directing their rage and anger towards you. At least they're just ranting with you. They're not like angry at you. So I think that's
right. So it's actually better.
yes, exactly. But yeah, that being said, I guess now you're pretty much used to those kind of things. And I guess that's not the first and last. You could have probably had some more crazy stories, but overall, the best thing is your work right now is a lot less stressful. And that being said, so in terms of your work life balance right now, can you compare it? Tell us the really noticeable differences working from the office and working from home. What changes happened to your life?
Actually, as I said before earlier, it was really life changing because right now, I have a lot of times to spend with my family. I'm always with my family, and when it's payday, we go out and something like that. So also, I get paid weekly, and that's the good thing about it.
Weekly pay. No pecha de peligro. If you still had that, then you need better money saving or control.
Yeah,
Manage your finances better. But yeah, every week salary, that's the one of the best actually.
yes, and the workload it's less stressful, so um, no cursing and everything. Every call is like a professional call, but sometimes you get those once in a blue moon call that they're calling for different types of things. But overall, it's really fun to be in this type of job.
I guess so. If you've felt the stress of the BPO industry before, this is a much more greener field compared to that because I know
Yeah,
I've talked to a lot of people and lots of stress over here, and yeah, it's not the best. But now, though, the other difference is that you're working directly for a foreign boss or client and you're working directly under his company. So, how's that new work environment set up?
actually, it was challenging compared to the BPO industry, that when you like do something wrong, or you do something that they did not like, they're gonna be shouting at you like
Hmm.
ACW. I mean, just
They're
for
more fun, yeah.
something. And I don't know. They're very hands on and they're very kind, but less micromanaging, I would say, compared to the BPO industry. I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you, Dwayne.
Oh, sorry. If you're in the VA industry, you have less resources to work with because first you're working from home. I mean, in the BPO, as you mentioned, micromanaging. That means you get all the training. Like you have this entire transition period where someone is going to train you and everything. But here in the VA industry, especially, yeah, most of the clients here at Sphere Rocket, it will require less transition period. So any particular things that you needed to do to adapt fast to the work that you're about to do?
Actually, no, because I'm just gonna be taking the after hours call, so it's not really that different with the one that I was doing before, because I worked in voice and chats and emails and all types of things. And as I mentioned, I have experience in the medical.
Medical field, health, yeah, and the health customer service,
So,
yeah.
but in terms of like the benefits that I'm getting here, there's a big difference.
Yes. Yeah, monetarily and everything, it's a lot. Yeah, definitely. I've heard that a lot from a lot of people that comes from the BPO. So I can confidently say that the compensations that they give in the VA world is going to be higher than most BPO positions. Like I've talked to people who are team leaders, operations managers that switch over to the VA side of things because the pay is higher and working from home as well. So that just shows a little bit on how much generosity the clients could be here. But of course, it's a higher salary, but the competition is going to be higher as well.
I
It's
know
yes, it's not easy, you know. I guess you've had your fair share of stories. Like, were you able to get your first job and your first interview, or did it take you some time?
this is actually my first job in the VA.
And how was the interview process? Did you just take your first interview and then you got hired immediately for your first client?
Yes.
You are lucky. Oh no, I wouldn't say lucky, but I guess you are quite good because a lot of people, oh not a lot, some of them actually takes 4 interviews, 5 interviews. I've talked to someone who waited 2 years before he was able to get a client.
Actually,
Which is
I've been hearing a lot that they're saying that, well, applying in the VA industry, it's really hard, but when you get the job, it's worth it. And I would say
yes.
it's really worth it. It's just a good thing that it didn't take me like 3 or 4 interviews just to get hired.
Yes, exactly. What do you think was your edge that you were able to get hired by your client now?
Maybe the reason why is because I had that specific experience with the medical field before, and yeah, I'm not sure the other of any other reason aside from that.
I guess so. You know, it's a really specific requirement. A lot of the BPO people will have like customer support or technical support, but not really in a health related field. So I guess with that experience, yeah, you're lot more connected and would be easier to transition to that one. And if you would have any advice to anyone that is aspiring to be a VA, because you had it easy. I mean, not easy. You had the right client that matches with your profile. So in your interview or for other people's interview, what would you advise them so they would have a better shot at getting hired?
I would say to those people, or to those aspiring VAs out there, to be patient and to just exert more effort on like broadening your skills, adding more skills to your investing on skills. And so when you got interviewed, you're gonna have a lot of cards to play,
Yes,
because yeah, when you applied in, I mean, when you get the job, it's really worth it.
I guess so. Yeah. I guess how long did it took you when you resigned to your previous job? How long did it took you to find a VA job applying?
About 3 months or four, something like
Yeah,
that.
it's still a fair time. So that means that you resigned your job without your previous job without any sure job. So I guess it was kind of like a leap of faith,
I know.
quitting your job without any any
But I
backup.
really call my experience on being a VA as like a luck, because I really
Yes.
hate it. Yeah.
Imagine if it took you like a year to find a new job. Your finances would be not the best because you don't have a stable stream of income. It could be luck, it could be fate, who knows? But the best thing is you're having a year almost, and maybe a lot more years in the future. And hopefully, this is the career path that you wanted to retire at as well. So, for the long term. And another thing I would say is that what would be so far, what is your biggest challenge that you faced so far as a VA working for this client particularly?
Biggest challenge? Did I hear that right? Um, hmm. I would say yeah, like the waiting period.
No, during the work. Now that in your work right now, not before, but yeah, and the work line of work that you do now.
Oh, okay. Well, aside from handling those type of crazy calls, I'm having any challenges because yeah,
Wow.
I don't really get a lot of callers in.
Well, congratulations on working your best job, not having any challenges other than crazy people calling. But yes, I guess you got really lucky with guest job, and it was. I would say, I would know that you would think that it's worth it leaving your job for no job, and now guess you're in the best career path that you have right now. So before we continue on to the last part of our podcast, we're just gonna hit it off with a short commercial break, and we'll be back after a few seconds.
Ever dreamed of swapping your hectic office for a comfy home workspace? At Sphere Rocket VA, we make that dream a reality. Say goodbye to rush hours and hello to remote work. Enjoy more time with family, more time for yourself, all while building your career. Interested? Apply now at www.spherejobs.ph.
We are back at the Sphere Rocket Podcast Network, back with Joriquel, one of our VA hired VAs here at Sphere Rocket, working as a receptionist for his client. But wanting to know more about your client. Can you tell us more about the client that you're working with? What kind of business he or she has, and how to contact them?
Yeah, well, regarding the business, it's actually a rehab facility. So, um, you can contact them by emailing like Elevate Rehab, elevaterehab.org.
Yes, a lot of people have seen or have heard of Elevate. So when we say rehab, can you give us any particular things that people have trouble with? Depression, is that one of the things that they needed?
Yes, depression or anxiety, depression, alcohol issues, and also drug abuse.
I see. I guess a lot of people tend to think negatively about those things. When you call a rehab center, you're automatically like crazy. No, I guess a lot of people with mental problems, and if you're just depressed and really sad, in the
Mm.
Philippines, it's not that big. And it's same with what I said. If you're feeling something, often, sadly, people just tell you, "Oh, it's just in your head. You just need to, just sleep it off, give it a few days, like eat something, be happy. Oh, I'm sad. Be happy," and then that's their advice. And
Yeah,
it's
so people are um, should be more vocal about it because admitting that you have that type of condition is one step to recovery.
Yes,
So
exactly. Acceptance, basically. So I guess if you think that you're going through a lot of severe problems like depression, especially if at work as well, going to a psychiatrist doesn't mean that you're admitting that you're crazy. We all need a little help sometimes, and trust
yeah,
me,
people needs people as well.
you've had those kind of episodes before, like you got severely depressed and things. Okay, or might be a too personal.
I just recently it's been a year, but I've had like postpartum since I gave birth. So yes, as I said, admitting that you had these types of
Hmm.
conditions is one
Hmm.
step to go. My fair share.
Hopefully, you're mentally recovered
Yep.
from that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, with all your smiles and happiness, but of course a lot of people that are smiling and happy might be hiding something behind those smiles. Sometimes those who smiles the most are the ones that are hurt the most, which is kind of true from people I know. So yeah, don't be afraid to bet help, to seek help. Yeah, you can contact Elevate. What was the email again?
Elevaterehab.org.
Yeah, elevaterehab.com. But that is specifically in America, right? Which state in America do they work at, or is
Uh,
it nationwide?
in California.
Oh yeah, okay. It's in California. So yeah, for people who's going through those kind of things, be sure to contact them. The website was mentioned earlier, but we'll have it posted as well. But if you're from outside that area, of course, do contact your local facility or institute or psychiatrist that will help you out with that, because mental health should be prioritized because it is going to be long term. So be sure to take care of that. And before we end this episode, Joriquel, maybe you wanted to give a shout out to your client, to co-workers you work with.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Spear Rocket for having me here and for giving me this wonderful opportunity to work as a virtual assistant here in your company. And yeah, I would like to thank my client because of taking care of me and also like hiring me the first time we met. And yeah, overall, yeah, that's everything. Thank you.
Hey, and last another question. What do you think is the best thing about working for Sphere Rocket or being hired by Sphere Rocket?
The best thing, I think, I mean, my life really changed when I started working here. So I think that's the best thing that could
Just
ever.
a life-changing experience. You got a good client that works well with you, and
Mhm.
you're working long term. And as a VA, 1 year is a long time. That means that the stability is there. And yeah, pretty much, I agree with you. Sphere Rocket is life-changing for a lot of people, and it's a blessing to a lot of people as well. So I guess with that being said, thank you everyone for tuning in to another episode here at the Sphere Rocket Podcast Network. Jorico, thank you for accepting our invitation. And hopefully this episode will be able to help aspiring VAs or people in general to learn more about the VA industry. And who knows, maybe you're going to be the next person we'll be interviewing at the Sphere Rocket Podcast Network. And that is our episode for today. We'll hope to see you again in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.